little to do with euphoria, and everything to do with patience. It is not about feeling good. It is about endurance. Like patience, passion comes from the same Latin root, pati. It does not mean to flow with exuberance. It means to suffer.
PT is not a game to me anymore. It's not art. It neither frightens nor excites me. Over the course of 10 years, it has steadily been reduced to this. PT was primarily envisioned as a mystery to be solved, but today, that is all it is to me. It is, of course, the ultimate fate of every horror game to eventually lose its initial heft. The same jump scare will never be as effective the 10th time as it was the first. The greatest signifier of a great horror game is that, as the intensity and immediacy of the scares diminish with repeated exposure, a more insidious tension remains. But it isn't tension I feel, as I step into that corridor once again. It's something more akin to coziness. Close to every terrifying illusion has been broken, because everyone and their bathroom ghosts have spent the past decade attempting to demystify every aspect of PT, writing extensive theory videos, using software tools to clip through in-game environments, picking apart everything said or done by anyone involved with the creation of the game. The fear of PT is gone. Now, only the obsession remains.
Once again, this whole broadcast has been brought to you by Sam. It's everywhere. Get used to it.
In retrospect, the announcement of PT was quite amusing. First shown during Sony's press conference at Gamescom 2014, this playable horror game teaser was almost nonchalantly sandwiched between a thorough gameplay demonstration of Metal Gear Solid 5 and PlayStation's Jim Ryan talking about the brand new Share Play function for the PS4. The trailer shows not much else but scant glimpses of a corridor, followed by flashes of ominous text. Will you decipher the enigma? It concludes with clips of player reactions, with one player in particular seeming like she was paid by the decibel.
PT is a new title from a new studio, and the exclusive interactive teaser is live right now on PlayStation Store. Check it out.
And that was it. A game that, without hyperbole, was about to change the whole genre of horror games for years to come, unveiled like nothing more than a footnote. The moment this tantalizing enigma was cracked was even less extravagant. Then freelance writer Shabana Arif, streamer named Soapy Warpigs, broadcast her gameplay of the playable teaser to a viewer count in the single digits. Once she reached the end of PT, where it was revealed to be an elaborate marketing push for the next Silent Hill game, there were only 3 people watching, though it didn't take long for that intimate moment to become worldwide news. The promise of Silent Hills, with none other than Metal Gear Solid director Hideo Kojima at the helm, was what enticed players, but it ended up being the playable teaser itself that gained the more lasting legacy. And not just because Silent Hills was ultimately cancelled. After all, the trailer at the end was just one of many mysteries to uncover within the cramped walls comprising that looping corridor. Who was the man who murdered his whole family in this house? Why is his wife Lisa haunting you specifically? Are you playing as her husband? What's with the talking paper bag? And what the hell is the significance of the numbers 204863? Questions led to answers which only posed further questions. The announcement trailer dared us to decipher the enigma. But maybe that enigma hadn't actually been solved yet.
This
When I decided to revisit PT in January 2025, I told myself I was going to do it without the assistance of tips or walkthroughs. More than enough time had passed that I knew I must have forgotten most things. Item locations, progress triggers, and the like. I was keen to see if the puzzle could be pieced together by intuition alone. Whether it was due to a lack of logical or mathematical knowledge, or a simple lack of patience, it turned out I couldn't. I couldn't figure out where the last couple of ripped photograph pieces were. I couldn't figure out that I needed to turn my gaze away and back to a wall with the word hello on it, in order for the necessary letters to magically complete the sentence on a different wall. And most importantly, I couldn't trigger the 3 baby laughs required to finish the game, without resorting to the method I used all the way back in 2014. The method, which was popularized by the YouTube channel The Great Debate, is simple. After walking the 10 steps required for the first baby laugh, you plug in a headset into your DualShock 4 controller and say the name Jareth. Why Jareth? Well, you see, you take the numbers 204863 and cross-reference them with the fake studio name behind PT, 7780 Studios. Then you use the word tree, as in the trees shown in the game's cover art, to decipher which numbers represent which letters. But then you have to reverse the order of the numbers in order for the double E in tree to correspond with the double 7.
We all create stories to protect ourselves.
Whether or not it was the intended solution, it has been proven to be consistently successful. That's not the method Soapy Warpigs used though, and there have been others who have claimed that they didn't need a headset whatsoever in order to reach the end of PT. So this time, I tried saying a whole bunch of different nonsense words into the microphone.
Kaninstrumpor, guleböj, snoppkondom, blöjbyte, Gösta Ekman, Björn Ranelid, sesamfrö, äggstock, Lisa, cockerspaniel, Ingegärd.
But in the end, only one word worked.
Jareth.
The second laugh was triggered. The only thing left to do was to stand completely still as the controller started to vibrate. The third laugh played, and the phone rang.
You've been chosen.
The game had just lied to me. Soapy Warpigs was chosen, all those years ago, to deliver the hidden message of PT to the world. Even with my attempts not to, I simply followed the instructions of other people, who managed to do what I failed to. I didn't solve a puzzle. I went through a checklist.
I purposefully make Lisa appear to end me, which throws me back to the small concrete room from the very start of the game. I approach the talking paper bag in the corner, only to witness the first audio glitch I've ever seen in PT. The bag keeps moving, but the voice cuts out completely. This is the biggest shock of my entire playthrough. It feels impossible for such a historical piece of art to contain such a blatant mistake. It's as if I've discovered a forgotten copy of the original Nosferatu, with a mistakenly preserved scene of Count Orlok actor Max Schreck comedically falling down the stairs. Or maybe it isn't a mistake. Maybe it was an intentional creative choice made by Hideo Kojima.
Those who write long books have nothing to say.
Of course,
Those who write short books
have even less to say. As the Silent Hills trailer started playing, I was surprised to find that, after all these years, my curiosity had not fully faded. What would a Silent Hill game made by Hideo Kojima, Junji Ito, and Guillermo del Toro look like? How would traversing this version of Silent Hill differ from, say, the recent Silent Hill 2 remake that we actually did get? Was the story of PT going to progress in Silent Hills in any meaningful way? Would there at least be references to it? No answers were ever given, and it's very likely no answers will ever be given. And maybe it's better that way. It is better that way. It's better that way. It's better. Mark C. Danielewski's 2000 novel House of Leaves is about a documentary that doesn't exist. academically analyzed by a blind man, whose words are being edited by another man, who gradually inserts himself into the text to the point that entire footnotes consist of personal non sequiturs. Whole pages are covered with citations for fake sources. Contributions from separate authors are awkwardly positioned next to or even on top of each other, as if stuck to the corkboard of a paranoid conspiracy theorist. Some words are highlighted with specific colors for no explained reason. Some pages barely contain any text at all. Most important of all, though, none of it matters! Well, it means something. Nothing means nothing. But it doesn't matter. House of Leaves presents itself as a series of alluring rabbit holes, but they are all distractions. The book challenges you to solve an enigma that was never designed to be solved. No one in their right mind would read this entire page of completely made-up names simply because they were printed here. But since they are here, the book is clearly daring you to. Likewise, PT has these cryptic lines of dialogue and thought-provoking imagery that certainly has a meaning to someone who worked on the game, presumably Hideo Kojima. But the more you start to focus on those details, the less you will arguably gain from what PT has to offer. House of Leaves, similar to PT, is actually a fairly simple tale about a house that is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. It's just presented in a deliberately complicated format. The true challenge of reading House of Leaves isn't spending time trying to decipher every little mystery. The challenge is learning what noise you can filter out without losing sight of the core of the story. In a word, obsession. It became the obsession of Will Navidson to uncover the truth of his impossible house. It became the obsession of Zampano to pour his life into documenting Navidson's obsession. And it became the obsession of Johnny Truant to complete Zampano's manuscript, once and for all. Both the text and format of the book reflects a series of interlinked obsessions, all spiraling out of control. And if you let it, House of Leaves will become your obsession as well. This, I believe, is a sentiment that House of Leaves shares with PT. For what is that looping hallway, if not a representation of the player's own obsession to solve its mysteries? Even with the knowledge of how to reach the end, you will not know why these solutions work. I mean, what is the significance of having to take exactly 10 steps to trigger the first baby laugh? Was it just some arbitrary number picked by the developers? Why does saying Jareth trigger the second baby laugh if it wasn't the intended solution? Or, if those who didn't use a headset are telling the truth, were there supposed to be 2 or even more possible solutions to this puzzle? If so, why? Once you start asking questions like these, you can go on forever. They are interesting questions, but as I revisited PT, I came to the realization that no answers could ever satisfy me. That the only meaningful thing I could do was let go. Not just of the idea of there ever being a Silent Hills, at least one made by Kojima Productions, but letting go of PT itself. The thing is, I thought I already had. In my second ever video on this YouTube channel, I sincerely stated that I had moved on from the Silent Hill series, that I had come to terms with the cancellation of Silent Hills. That was 5 years ago. Yet here I am, tainting my romantic memory of PT by putting it under a microscope. It feels like trying to reignite the passion of a past relationship, only to discover what it actually was for the best that it ended. It's easy to mistake love with obsession, after all.
I took my morning walk. I took my evening walk. I ate something. I thought about something. I wrote, I napped, and dreamt something too. And with all that something, I still have nothing. Because so much of something has always been, and always will be, you. I miss you.
Around 4 years ago, my dear friends over on the YouTube channel Transparency Boo purposefully removed their digital copy of PT from their PlayStation 4. While talking to Kiki, one of the 2 members of the channel, I was reminded that the reason was that they wanted to sell the console in order to afford a PlayStation 5. My response?
Aw, damn! I was actually planning on doing a short interview with you about it for the video. But I guess the reason wasn't much more exciting than that.
But that's the thing. It didn't need to be some grand statement. They got what they wanted out of PT and decided to move on. I admired that. Even now, when my excitement of actually playing PT has mostly dissolved, I can't bring myself to get rid of the game. I tell myself that it's out of the obligation to preserve it. But who am I preserving it for, really? I'm the owner of this console. Unless I end up selling it, no one is going to be playing games on it but me. And I haven't done it in 5 years. If I did end up selling my PlayStation 4 one day, I would have to do a factory reset just like my friends over on Transparency Boo did. So what is the point of keeping PT? In popular fiction, ghosts, like Lisa, are perhaps most commonly used as a metaphor for the unresolved, whether it's trauma or really any kind of unfinished business taking up space in the back of our minds. In that sense, PT is the closest any horror game has come to making me feel like I've interacted with a real-life ghost. And some ghosts, hell maybe most or even all of them, are immune to being exorcised. The only way to deal with them is to accept their presence and coexist. Regardless if I kept PT on my PlayStation's hard drive or if I deleted it, its specter, its unanswered mysteries, will loom over me until the day I die. I think I prefer it that way. I'm a person who has only gotten more attached to the idea of closure over the years, whether it's related to art or personal relationships. One of my greatest challenges, then, is facing the fact that closure is, sometimes, an impossibility. That's simply something I have to come to terms with, and I'm starting right here. There are seemingly endless amounts of question marks still hovering over PT, and I have chosen to ignore them. The magic of art dies in obsession, and I'm done obsessing over PT. No more staring at an unfinished puzzle. This is where the loop ends.
Maturity, one discovers, has everything to do with the acceptance of not knowing.
If you want to see more videos like this, I recommend becoming a paying patron over on patreon.com/pimscrypt. Projects this ambitious can't always be achieved with some free time and a dream. So even if you give as little as $1 a month, you'll help this channel keep the lights on. Some people who are currently keeping the lights on are Onaday, Callum Wally, Chromatophorium, D.E. Wright, Eben Phantom, Emmeline, Håvard Krugerud, Icarus Harker, Jesse Earl, Kalis, L. Tantevi, Losty, Nicole, Quillightful, Rowan Woodcock, Sable Cow, Sethzard, TB Skyan, 10 Tiny Kittens, The Sphere Hunter, and Vinders. I also want to thank S. Lauftree for the makeup and video direction, Hamish of the YouTube channel Writing on Games for editing the script, and my friends at Transparency Boo for providing additional game footage, as well as accidentally inspiring the conclusion of this video. That's it for now. You'll see me again soon.